It was 2:14 a.m. when my phone buzzed. That sound shouldn't have meant anything. It's the same chime that's jolted me awake 100 times before. But that night, the vibration echoed in a way that didn't feel normal. It felt deliberate, slow, like someone wanted me to hear it. My room was dark except for the faint blue glow bleeding from the screen. I remember thinking I'd dreamed it at first, that my half-asleep brain had made the sound up. But when I reached for the phone on my nightstand, I saw the name on the screen. Ethan. And just like that, my chest went cold. Ethan had been dead for 6 months. The text preview stared back at me, as casual and cruel as if nothing had changed. Why did you leave me? For a full minute, I just sat there, blank, heart hammering against the silence. I deleted his contact after the funeral. I'd even smashed my old SIM card when I switched phones. There was no way his name should have appeared. No way anything should have appeared. But it did. My hands were shaking when I opened the message. The timestamp said delivered just now. The profile photo was the same one we took the summer before he died. His grin too wide, eyes squinting in the sun, my arms slung around his shoulders like I'd never let go. And now, in the middle of the night, that same smile was staring at me again. I wanted to believe it was a glitch, some backup file or data sync glitching through the cloud. I wanted to, but there was this wrongness to it, like the phone was waiting for me to answer. I whispered, Ethan, like an idiot talking to glass. Nothing. Just the faint hum of my charger and the pulse in my throat. I almost locked the screen and threw the phone across the room, but something in me couldn't look away. There was too much weight behind those 4 words, too much guilt buried under them. Because I did leave him, not in the way you think. And I never told anyone what really happened that night. Before I could think, before I could breathe, my phone buzzed again. New message, same name. You can't ignore me this time. The air felt thick, like the walls were closing in. I swear the phone grew warmer in my hand like it was alive, watching, waiting. If I disappear after posting this, you'll know why. Because Ethan found a way back. To explain why that text destroyed me, I need to start 6 months ago. Ethan and I met when we were 12, bonding over the same cheap bag of chips in detention. We stayed inseparable after that, the kind of friendship that feels more like gravity than choice. By the time we hit 20, it was us against the world. Or at least that's what we told ourselves, somewhere between bad Wi-Fi, worse decisions, and too many late nights gaming. That night started like all the others. We were crammed into his tiny apartment, energy drinks lining the table like trophies, the room glowing blue from the TV. The sound of gunfire and static from our game filled the space. He laughed as he shot my character on screen. Dude, you're getting slow, he said, that trademark smirk tugging at his lip. Shut up, your aim assist's doing all the work. He snorted, skill issue. I threw a chip at him, he ducked, it hit the fan. We both lost it, laughing, choking on crumbs, like idiots who thought we had all the time in the world. It was one of those rare moments when you realize you're living a memory, even if you don't know it yet. Ethan picked up his phone mid-laugh to record a selfie. For future evidence that I'm better than you, he said, sticking his tongue out at me. I flipped him off just as the camera clicked. That was the last selfie we ever took together, or so I thought. When I looked at the photo later, I noticed something strange. Ethan's screen flickered right as he hit capture, a tiny glitch, like a face reflected where there shouldn't have been one. We joked about it, called it the ghost of my KD ratio, and moved on. But the longer I stared at it, the less funny it felt. The night dragged on, filled with dumb jokes and energy drink buzz. Then Ethan's phone began to glitch again, freezing, screen flashing white, then black. He frowned. Weird, it just said signal lost even though the Wi-Fi's fine. I shrugged. Maybe your phone as dead as your aim. He grinned. You'll miss me when I'm gone. The words hit different. He said them casually, but for half a second his face changed, serious, distant. Then it was gone. By 2 a.m., he decided to make a quick run to the gas station for snacks. I offered to come, but he waved me off. "It's 5 minutes, man. I'm not gonna die." I wish he hadn't said that. He grabbed his hoodie, phone in hand, and left. The sound of the door closing was the last normal sound I'd hear for a long time. I kept playing, mind half asleep, until the controller slipped from my hand and I dozed off. When I woke up, sunlight was bleeding through the blinds. My phone had 10 missed calls, from Ethan's mom, from a number I didn't recognize. Then the text. "Call me, it's about Ethan." I remember how cold the floor felt under my bare feet as I dialed back, how the ringing seemed to stretch forever before someone finally answered. A man's voice. Police. Calm, detached. The kind of tone people use when they don't want to say the words. They found his car a mile away from his apartment, crashed into the guardrail near the old overpass. No skid marks. No signs he tried to stop. His phone was still clutched in his hand, screen shattered, camera open. They said it looked like he'd been taking a photo just before it happened. That detail wouldn't leave me alone. I told myself it was an accident, that maybe he fell asleep. Maybe a deer ran across the road. I repeated those maybes until they felt real. But in the back of my mind, something whispered that it was. Because the last text I ever got from Ethan was at 2:17 a.m., 3 minutes after he left. "Bro, you still awake?" I never saw it until the next morning. When I tried replying, the message failed to send. His number was already disconnected. At the funeral, I stared at the photo they placed beside the casket, the same one from our last night together. Only this time, I couldn't shake the thought that the glitch in that photo wasn't random. That maybe the face in the flicker was watching us both. Ethan's mom hugged me so tight I could barely breathe. "He loved you like a brother," she said. And I felt it then, that weight of something unfinished, something I didn't understand. After the funeral, I deleted his number, or at least I thought I did. The first time Ethan's name flashed on my screen, I convinced myself it was a glitch. Some leftover contact data synced from an old backup, maybe, or one of our friends pulling a sick joke. But when I clicked the message open and saw the words, "Why did you leave me?" something in me twisted. I didn't reply. I couldn't. My hands hovered over the keyboard for minutes that felt like hours. Then, finally, I typed, "Who is this?" No response. Just the faint glow of the message thread staring back at me like an open grave. By morning, I convinced myself it had to be a prank. Ethan's number must have been reassigned. That happens, right? So I pushed it aside, tried to drown it with work, coffee, and denial. But that night at exactly 2:14 a.m., the same time as before, my phone buzzed again. "Miss me." The typing bubbles appeared, stopped, appeared again. Like whoever or whatever was on the other end couldn't decide what to say. Then another message popped up. "You still suck at Dead by Dawn." My blood froze. That was our game. The one we played every night until sunrise. Nobody else knew that, not his mom, not our friends. I tried to laugh it off. "Very funny," I typed back. "Whoever you are, this isn't cool." The reply came instantly. "Don't call me whoever. It's Ethan." I stared at the screen, half expecting the text to vanish, like the phone would suddenly realize it had broken a cosmic rule. But it stayed there, bright, mocking. I wanted to believe it was someone screwing with me, one of our gaming buddies using some spoofing app. So I called, straight away. No answer. The line didn't even ring. It just clicked once, then silence. "Okay," I muttered, half to myself. "Creepy but nice try." The next text arrived before I could put the phone down. "Don't hang up on me this time." My throat went dry. The "this time" part, it hit wrong. Because the night Ethan died, I had ignored his last call. The one at 2:17, the one I'd never answered. No one else knew that. I could feel my pulse in my fingertips as I typed back. "What do you want?" "To talk," he replied. "I don't believe this." "You will." There was a pause, Then the little gray bubble started again, slowly, almost thoughtfully. Remember the basement. Every muscle in my body locked up. The basement, our hideout when we were teenagers, a place no one else even knew about. We built it behind his dad's old shed, filled it with stolen snacks, and declared it our HQ. How do you know about that? I typed. Because you carved our initials into the wall. E+M, remember. I dropped the phone. It hit the floor with a hollow thud, screen flickering like it was struggling to breathe. When I finally picked it up again, another message had appeared. You forgot me. My heart pounded so loud I could hear it in my ears. This isn't real, I whispered. Grief has Wi-Fi now. Then came a new notification, a photo. I almost didn't open it. My thumb hovered, shaking. Curiosity won. It was a picture of us, or at least it looked like us. Same basement, same chipped concrete wall, same initials carved behind us. Except I didn't remember taking it. And Ethan's eyes were wrong, pale, clouded, reflecting the light like a camera flash caught inside them. I zoomed in, and my stomach turned. Behind us, in the corner of the photo, was a third shadow, human-shaped, watching. Before I could process it, another message appeared. We're not done yet. I dropped the phone again. The sound echoed through the dark room like a gunshot. My apartment felt smaller suddenly, every hum of electricity louder. I unplugged the charger, powered off the phone, and set it face down on the table. Silence. Then vibration. Even though the screen was black, the light blinked once, then twice. The phone buzzed, fighting against the table like it was alive. My stomach churned as I reached for it. The screen flickered on, white static cutting through black. Then a single line appeared on the display. Don't ignore me again. And right as I stared at it, frozen, the phone began to ring. The caller ID, Ethan. Then came the voicemail, and I swear it was his voice. I didn't notice the voicemail until the next morning. The notification sat there like a landmine, one new message from Ethan. My thumb hovered over it, shaking. I hadn't slept. My head throbbed from staring at those texts for hours, wondering if my mind had finally splintered under guilt. Still, I pressed play. At first, it was just static. That low, fuzzy kind that feels alive, like it's breathing against your ear. Then, beneath it, a faint dripping sound. A slow, steady rhythm, like water leaking from a rusted pipe somewhere deep underground. Aizen. My name, faint, buried in the noise. I sat up, pulse hammering. It came again, clearer this time, the voice stuttering through static. Ian, you left me. I froze. The tone wasn't just similar, it was Ethan. His awkward cadence, the way he used to drag out my name when he was joking around. But this wasn't a joke. The sound carried pain, panic. I turned up the volume. The background grew louder, not just dripping water, but other noises too. Scraping, something heavy being dragged, and a sound that didn't make sense, like wind whistling through a tunnel that shouldn't exist. Then the voice shifted deeper, broken by static bursts that made the words crack. Why didn't you come back for me? Every muscle in my body locked. That sentence, it hit like a hammer, because there was no way he could have known. I had never told anyone what really happened that night. Not the police, not his parents, not even the therapist they forced me to see. My finger slipped, replaying the message. I needed to be sure. But each time the distortion warped differently, new fragments emerging like they'd always been there, hidden under the static. Cold. Dark. Can't find the door. And then a breath, close, too close, like he was speaking right into the mic, right into my ear. Help me. The message ended with a click. I stared at the phone, heart thudding so hard I thought I might black out. It couldn't be Ethan. It shouldn't be Ethan. I'd seen his coffin lowered into the ground. I'd watched dirt cover the wood. I'd stood there long enough for the world to blur into gray. But that voice, I would have recognized it anywhere. The rational part of my mind tried to assemble explanations, deepfake tech, someone hacking his old number, a sick joke. But none of it accounted for the details, the pauses in his speech, the private phrasing, the little habits only I would remember. And that sound, the dripping water, it didn't feel like a recording, it felt like a place. I replayed the message one last time, listening for something I could cling to, anything that made it make sense. But near the end, just before it cut off, I heard something new, a low moan in the background, not pain, calling. My name again, but this time it didn't sound like a voice reaching out for help. It sounded like something luring me closer. If this is a prank, I whispered to the empty room, it's a brilliant one. But deep down I knew. If it was, I was next. That's when I made the worst decision of my life. I texted him back. I told myself it was for closure. That if I answered the message, I'd prove it wasn't him, that it was some sick impersonation. Someone who hacked his number and knew just enough to twist the knife. So I typed, "Who is this?" The 3 dots appeared instantly. That tiny pulsing ellipsis hit harder than any ghost story ever could. Someone or something was typing back. "Ethan, you know who." My throat went dry. I almost dropped the phone. "Me, this isn't funny." "Ethan, you left me." I stared at the words, trying to rationalize. A hacker, a relative, anyone. But the phrasing, the exact way Ethan used to guilt-trip me when I forgot plans, it was too perfect. "Me, Ethan's gone." "Ethan, am I?" I blinked hard. "Ethan, you shouldn't have run." And just like that, the dam cracked. The memories surged back, headlights in the rain, my hands shaking on the steering wheel, the sound of metal twisting. I told everyone I blacked out, that I woke up in the ditch alone. But Ethan, he never made it out of the car. "Me, what do you mean, run?" "Ethan, you left me there." The phone slipped in my sweaty palm. I tried to tell myself no one else could know that detail, that I had stumbled out of the wreckage, dazed, terrified, hearing his voice calling for help before everything went silent. "Me, Ethan, where are you?" "Ethan, a place with no signal." "Me, then how are you texting me?" "Ethan, because you're still connected." That line hit like ice water down my spine. "Me, connected to what?" "Ethan, the night, the choice, you never really hung up." I almost threw the phone away, but I couldn't stop reading. The texts kept coming, faster now, as if he'd been waiting all this time. "Ethan, you didn't even look back." "Ethan, you promised we'd go together." "Ethan, you said, I'll be right behind you." That last line made my chest cave in. I had said that right before he dared me to take that turn at full speed. It was supposed to be harmless fun, a stupid teenage challenge. And when the headlights appeared out of nowhere, I flinched, jerked the wheel, and... "Me, I tried to save you." "Ethan, no, you tried to save yourself." The air felt thicker, like the room itself was reacting to his words. The shadows near the window seemed to stretch, leaning closer. "Ethan, I can see you typing." I froze. The blinds were half open. My reflection in the dark glass flickered with each heartbeat of the phone's screen. "Me, what do you mean?" "Ethan, look up." I did. The phone buzzed again, another message, this time with an image attachment. My thumb hesitated over the preview. Every instinct screamed not to open it, but curiosity is a cruel master. It was a photo of my bedroom window, taken from outside. The timestamp said 2 minutes ago. I stumbled backward so hard I knocked over the chair. The window looked out onto an empty yard, or at least it should have. I couldn't see anything beyond the fogged glass, but the reflection staring back at me seemed wrong. The angle of my head, the faint smudge of a shadow standing behind me. My phone buzzed again. "Ethan, you didn't even come to the hospital." "Ethan, you didn't want to see me like that." "Ethan, but you're going to see me now." Tears stung my eyes. "I'm sorry," I whispered. It felt stupid, apologizing to pixels, but I meant it more than anything I'd ever said. For a few seconds, there was silence. No messages, no typing dots, just the low hum of my phone, warm against my trembling hand. Then, Ethan, I forgive you. I exhaled shakily. Relief, disbelief, exhaustion, all tangled into one fragile breath. But then another message appeared. Ethan, now it's your turn. The lights flickered. My phone buzzed again and again, notifications spilling across the screen faster than I could read them, one after another, all the same words. Ethan, let's finish what we started. Ethan, let's finish what we started. Ethan, let's finish what we started. I slammed the power button, holding it until the screen went black. The room was silent again. Except the buzzing didn't stop. I shut off my phone, but the messages kept coming. For 2 nights after that, I barely slept. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw that photo, my window, my reflection, and that impossible shadow. I kept my phone off, locked in a drawer like a loaded gun. But the world didn't reset itself just because I refused to look. It started with the lights. They flickered whenever I walked into a room, rhythmic, like a pulse. Sometimes 3 short blinks, then 2 long ones. A pattern, like Morse code if Morse code could feel angry. Then came the other devices. My laptop booted itself in the middle of the night. The cursor moved without my touch, opening my photos, scrolling like something searching for a specific image. I unplugged it. It turned back on. When I finally turned my phone back on, it greeted me with chaos. The home screen had changed, Ethan's number pinned to the top of every app. Snapchat, Ethan added you back. Instagram, Ethan liked your story. Spotify, now playing See You Soon by Coldplay. I don't even have that song downloaded. That was the moment I stopped pretending it was a prank. You can't spoof someone across every app on your phone. I called my coworker, Rachel, just to hear a normal human voice. Hey man, she said through the speaker, you sound like hell. I haven't been sleeping, I said. Weird phone stuff, I think someone's hacking me. Hacking you how? Messages from Ethan. There was silence, then softly, you mean Ethan who? Yeah. She exhaled, you're scaring me, dude. Join the club. Before hanging up, she said something that stuck with me. Grief makes you see ghosts, especially digital ones. Don't feed it. She was right, but by then, the ghost was already eating back. That night, I checked my camera roll again. 1,000 tiny thumbnails of my life, selfies, nights out, Ethan smiling in half of them. But now, his face, it had changed. Subtle at first, eyes darker, smile stretched too wide. In one, his reflection appeared in a mirror that hadn't been there before. In another, he stood behind me when I knew he hadn't been. Then came the worst notification yet. Ethan reacted to your heartbeat. I don't even use a smartwatch. But when I looked down, my phone screen pulsed, a faint red glow in rhythm with my chest. I threw the phone onto the bed. It buzzed once more. I didn't want to look, but curiosity, or maybe fear, always wins. Ethan, you're recording this, right? The message burned across the screen. I hadn't told anyone, but I was recording. I'd started documenting everything, screenshots, audio, timestamps, so I could post it later on Reddit. Proof that I wasn't losing my mind. Proof that something real was happening. But Ethan's next message killed that illusion. Ethan, don't share this. It's not your story anymore. And then the file appeared. A small gray folder on my home screen. No name, no app icon, just a symbol, a circle split in half. When I tried to delete it, the phone froze. The camera turned on by itself, facing me. The screen showed my reflection again, pale and shaking. Then the image glitched. For half a second, Ethan's face replaced mine. That's when the buzzing started again, soft and constant, vibrating through every device in the room. I picked up the phone. The folder was still there. That's when I found the folder on my phone I never created. At first, I thought the folder was empty, just a blank icon sitting there like a bruise on my home screen. But when I tapped it, my phone didn't open it, it breathed. The screen pulsed once like something waking up, then a list appeared. 15 files. All labeled in order. E01, E02, E03, and so on. The first one was an audio clip, just static at first, then a whisper, too faint to make out. I turned the volume all the way up. Shouldn't have ignored me. I dropped the phone. The voice was Ethan. Hoarse, slow, like someone speaking underwater. Every rational thought I had screamed this is fake. Some sick, malicious joke. Deepfake audio, AI mimicry, anything. But the timestamp on the file said it was created 6 months ago, the night he died. I opened the next one. A video. It started with my bedroom, filmed in total darkness except for the faint glow of my nightstand clock. 3:17 a.m. The camera was angled from the ceiling corner. I don't have a camera there, but it showed me, lying in bed, tossing and turning. Then my phone screen lit up on the nightstand as if someone had texted. I could hear my own voice mutter, "Ethan." I didn't remember that. The next file showed me sitting in my car, gripping the steering wheel, staring at the rain-streaked windshield. My reflection warped in the glass. In the passenger seat, a faint figure flickered for a split second, Ethan's silhouette. The files got worse from there. Glitched, corrupted clips that seemed to bleed together. A video of me crying at his funeral, except in the background, Ethan stood by his own coffin, face blurred, head tilted. Watching. I tried deleting the folder. My thumb hovered over remove. The screen went black, then flashed. The folder reappeared instantly, now renamed Ethan. Every time I deleted it, it grew back. I tried to factory reset my phone. It froze halfway through, displaying a message I'd never seen before. Reset interrupted. Active connection detected. I opened one of the remaining files, the one at the very bottom, labeled E15, MP4. It started with static, then an image formed. It was me. But not me. Someone wearing my face. Same clothes, same scars, same tired eyes but off. Too still, too symmetrical. He smiled at the camera, slow and deliberate. Then he whispered, "He's in the signal, not the spirit." The video ended with a flicker. The background shifted to my living room. The real one. And in the reflection of the TV, I could see that version of me standing behind the couch. That's when the phone started vibrating again, over and over, until it slid off the table. The screen blinked on by itself. A new text. "Ethan, stop watching." "Me, what are you?" "Ethan, you invited me back. Every time you looked, every time you listened." I typed back, hands trembling. "Me, what do you want?" "Ethan, to finish syncing." And then another file appeared in the folder. It wasn't labeled with an E, it was my name. I didn't open it, couldn't. I just stared at it until my vision blurred. Somewhere behind me, the air changed, a faint crackle, like distant interference. My speakers buzzed even though they were unplugged. The lights dimmed, the same 3 short, 2 long pattern blinking from the lamp. That's when I realized what he'd meant before, the place with no signal. It wasn't beyond the network, it was inside it. Ethan wasn't haunting me, he was integrating. Every photo, every text, every backup I'd ever made, he was in all of it. That folder wasn't a collection of files, it was a door. I thought smashing the phone would end it. I was wrong. I thought if I destroyed the phone, I could destroy him. It shattered against the wall, screen spiderwebbing into 100 bright cracks. But even as it fell, I heard the vibration again. Faint, rhythmic, like a dying heartbeat that refused to stop. And then the lights went out. The room glowed faintly from the broken screen. The folder opened by itself. Only one file left now, the one with my name. I didn't touch it. It opened anyway. The screen filled with text. "Ethan, ready to tell the truth." My hands shook. "I didn't mean to leave you," I whispered. "Ethan, you didn't just leave. You ran." Tears blurred my vision. I panicked, okay? The car, the smoke, I couldn't breathe. I thought I'd get help. "Ethan, you looked right at me." My heart cracked open. I heard you scream. I was halfway down the road before I realized I was alone. "Ethan, you watched the fire in the mirror." I pressed my palms to my eyes, trying to block out the memory. The orange glow behind me, the silence where his voice should have been, the smell of burning rubber and something worse. Ethan, you turned off your phone that night. That's why I couldn't call you. That detail stabbed deeper than anything else. I'd silenced everything because I couldn't stand the sound, the calls, the sirens, the guilt. Ethan, you thought turning it off would end it. I didn't know, I screamed. I didn't know you were still. Ethan, I was calling. You just didn't pick up. The screen began to distort, words stretching across the cracks like veins. I could see my reflection in the shattered glass, fractured, trembling, wrong. Ethan, you don't need your phone to hear me anymore. I froze. The voice came from behind me this time, not from the speaker, from the air. I turned slowly. The dark shimmered like heat waves, pixels bleeding into shadow, forming something that almost looked human. Ethan's outline, flickering, digital, fragmented, stood just beyond the dying glow. His voice was a blend of static and sorrow. It's lonely here. I'm sorry, I whispered. I'm so sorry. He tilted his head, then joined me. The broken phone buzzed again. On the screen, new text appeared, not typed, but etched. Ethan, forgiven. Then, Ethan, connected. My reflection shifted. The me in the glass wasn't crying anymore. He smiled, slow, wrong, deliberate. The screen went black, then my reflection smiled. I grabbed the phone, shaking it, begging it to turn off, but the camera had already opened again. My own image stared back, identical, except for one tiny difference. The version of me on the screen was holding an intact phone. And he whispered, "Your turn." The light snapped on all at once. The screen dimmed. Everything looked normal. Except for one new message waiting at the top. It's been 6 months since the last message. 6 months of silence, of pretending my phone is just a phone again, not a haunted extension of guilt. I moved apartments, changed numbers, switched carriers, new SIM, new start. I even stopped going online except to check work emails. Every night before bed, I powered down every device, double-checked the sockets, and whispered a quiet prayer that maybe, finally, I'd broken the connection. Then tonight, at exactly 2:14 a.m., my phone buzzed. I froze. I shouldn't have. It's just a notification, right? A random alert, a wrong number. But that vibration, it was the same rhythm, the same pulse. I turned it over. The screen lit up. New message from Ethan. Miss me. My breath caught. The number was different this time. Not his old one, not even a number at all. Just a string of zeros, endless. I told myself not to respond. I remembered what happened last time. But curiosity is a parasite, and I've never been good at killing mine. Me, what do you want? No dots appeared. No typing indicator. Just one reply arriving instantly. Ethan, you're not done telling our story. And for a moment, God help me, I felt something like warmth. Not peace, presence. Then the phone camera opened by itself. My reflection stared back. Behind me in the darkness, a faint outline flickered his shape, right where he always stood in those corrupted videos. The image glitched, and the words appeared on screen again. Ethan, don't hang up this time. I dropped the phone. The buzzing continued. That's when I realized it wasn't coming from the phone anymore. It was coming from inside the walls. If you're watching this, I need you to listen carefully. If you ever get a message from someone you've lost, don't answer it. Don't text back. Don't open attachments. Don't even look. Every time you look, it looks back. You think you're remembering them, but it's remembering you. I'll post this tonight. Maybe it'll serve as a warning. Or maybe it's just another link in the chain, another signal for him to find. Either way, if I disappear again, you'll know why. Because he's not done with me. And maybe next time, it'll be you. Static crackles. A faint notification sound echoes, one final buzz before the audio cuts to silence.